You've probably heard of Vince Lombardi's famous quote, winners never quit and quitters never win. Was that entirely true? Lombardi was a legendary NFL coach who led his team to 5 championships in 7 years. So it's easy to take his words as absolute truth. But even the most successful people have walked away from something at some point in their lives. Let's take Bo Jackson, for example. He was the number one pick in the 1986 NFL draft, but decided to quit football because he wasn't satisfied with the training facilities. Instead, he pursued a career in professional baseball. Did that make him a quitter? Or did he make a strategic decision to pivot towards something better? I am your negotiation coach, Dr. Gloria Esoimeme. I'm a keynote speaker on negotiation for professional women. I'm a board certified internal medicine physician with a master's in global health and a PhD in health services policy and management. Today, we're diving into a topic that challenges a widely accepted belief. Do winners ever quit? Let's explore when quitting is actually the right move and how to know when it's time to walk away. Before we dig into when it's time to quit, let's be clear. Success requires perseverance. I know this firsthand. I had to push through grueling hours of study to complete medical school, my master's program, and my PhD. So I understand the value of grit. But I've also seen lots of women stay in dead-end jobs, hold on to failing businesses, or remain in toxic relationships because they don't want to be seen as quitters. I liken this to performing CPR for 2 hours and expecting a full recovery. Sometimes you have to recognize when it's time to stop. So why do people hold on to sinking ships? Some would hold on because of their ego. They don't want to be perceived as failures. Other people will stay on because of all the past investments. They've poured so much time, money, and effort into a project or business that walking away feels like throwing it all away. And others are afraid of the unknown. Many of us would rather stay in a bad situation than face uncertainty. The fear of what comes next keeps them stuck, even when they know the business is failing or the job is a dead-end venture. Some other people would stay because of external pressure from the society, from family or colleagues who may discourage them from leaving, making them feel compelled to stay even when that position no longer serves them. And some women hope for change, that we would convince ourselves that things will improve if we just wait it out, even when all signs point to the contrary. This false hope can keep us trapped in an unfulfilling situation for far too long. Does any of these examples sound familiar? If so, let's talk about how to actually know when it's time to let go. There are some clear red flags that would point you to the direction that it might be time to walk away. If you have persistent doubts that's been going, and you have these concerns that has been going on for months or years, that your position isn't serving you, listen to them. Also, if you work in a toxic environment, you should consider leaving. I will describe a toxic environment as one that you have anxiety. You feel anxious just going to work. Other external signs that your workplace may be toxic is having a high turnover. Your supervisors have unrealistic expectations from you. There are cliques you can never break into. There's dishonesty and lack of trust. You should consider walking away if you feel stagnant. If you've outgrown your role with no room for advancement, or your business shows no sign or potential of growth, then staying is like wearing shoes that are way too tight. I have a personal litmus test for deciding when to walk away. So for me, it's simple. If I cannot serve or my contributions are not valued, I walk away. Value is reflected in sales, appreciation, or meaningful impact. I'll give an example. I once had what seemed like a golden opportunity. I was qualified for the job, I was eager, I was willing and ready to contribute. But I soon realized I was being positioned as a figurehead. I was unable to truly serve in a meaningful way, and that wasn't for me. So even without another offer lined up, I resigned. I knew I couldn't stay in a role where I couldn't provide value. And guess what? That decision led me to greater opportunities. Many successful women have made bold decisions to walk away from high-profile positions. The former CEO of H&M, Helena Helmelson, she stepped down as CEO of H&M after nearly 4 years. Jacinda Ardern, who was the former Prime Minister of New Zealand, she resigned. Nicola Sturgeon, the former First Minister of Scotland, she left her position as First Minister of Scotland, explaining that the role had taken a personal toll. We have Sanna Marin. She's the former Prime Minister of Finland. She didn't go for re-election. And then we have our very own Sheryl Sandberg. She was the former COO of Meta. She stepped down as the COO after 14 years to focus on philanthropy and personal projects, saying it was time to write a new chapter. These women didn't leave because they failed. They left because they knew when it was time to move on. While knowing when to walk away is essential, quitting at the wrong time can be just as damaging. So here are a few scenarios where you should pause before you make a decision. If you don't have a financial safety net, then hold on. You don't have to make a rash decision. Plan your exit strategy while securing your finances. When I left the role that was no longer serving me, I had enough savings to live for a while, and I also knew I would get another position easily. If you are in the middle of negotiations, hold on. Leverage your position first before moving on. Another time you should press brakes is if there's a possibility that you're acting on emotion. Never make a major decision in the heat of the moment. Do not leave because of a one-off incident or you're angry or upset. Give things time to settle and then reassess if you're being emotional or logical about your decision to quit. And you shouldn't walk away if you haven't explored all alternatives. Ensure you've exhausted all possible solutions such as renegotiating terms or seeking internal changes. And lastly, do not quit if you're living out of fear, not strategy. Quitting due to self-doubt or imposter syndrome can be a missed opportunity for growth. Make sure your decision is based on logic, not fear. So, the idea that winners never quit isn't entirely accurate. The key is knowing when to push through and when to pivot. So if you're struggling with whether to stay or leave, take a step back. Are you staying out of fear, loyalty, or habit? Or is this truly the best path for you? If you've successfully walked away from something that no longer served you, I want to hear your story. Your experience might inspire someone to make a bold move. Also, let me know if there are any topics you want me to discuss or if you have questions based on this episode. If you found this episode helpful, share with a friend or colleague who might need this encouragement. Let's work together to create a thriving environment for women in the workplace. Thanks for tuning in. Always remember, you were born with the potential to be great. I will see you next time. Be great.